This episode of Sharing Needles with Friends is brought to you by the fine folks at Vinyl Me Please.
What's Vinyl Me Please?
Well, Gene, that's an interesting question. Vinyl Me Please is many things. It is.
What is it to you? What is Vinyl Me Please to you?
It really speaks to my soul.
Wow.
No. Vinyl Me Please is a monthly vinyl subscription service. You can go to vinylmeplease.com and you can pay as little as $23 a month. And what they're going to do is they're going to send you an album each month.
That's the math.
That is, yeah. Thank you. The listeners appreciate you.
Every 4 weeks, which is a month.
They'll send you an essential album. So what they do is they curate what album they're going to have each month. And it's always cool. And
it's always great.
Always limited press because it's to Vinyl Me Please subscription people only. So
it's a club.
In the past few months, I've gotten things such as Mad Villain, Diarrhea Planet, War on Drugs, Sylvan Esso, Sisyphus,
R.L. Burnside. The hits keep coming.
They keep coming.
It's
what they
amazing.
also do is they give you a 12 by 12 art print, and they also give you a recipe for a cocktail that would pair nicely with the album.
Exactly, as Derek pointed out once before, not an actual cocktail, which I would say they pair a cocktail with the record. They send you a cocktail with the record.
They don't send you the recipe, actual drink.
Right.
They don't send you a screwdriver in
which
the mail.
Would be interesting to receive. But anyway, they really do view the album as an art form.
They do.
And in everything that they do to put into this package, it's amazing. I mean, you got the art print, you've got the record that's limited that you know that only club people get, and you get a cocktail recipe.
And it's cool to have someone be like, it's sort of like you got a friend sending you a record saying,
exactly,
hey, check out this record.
I think you'll like this one.
You're going to get stuff that you've heard of, you're going to get stuff that you love, and you're going to get stuff that you've never heard of that you will love, I promise.
Exactly.
So check out vinylmeplease.com and get on it.
Get on it. We are also sponsored by Nothing Too Fancy.
Nothing Too Fancy is where you can go to get all Sharing Needles with Friends merch.
All kinds of merch.
And you can get all sorts of other cool things as well. They got tons of cool, vintagey, just awesomeness.
Yes. There's T-shirts, which are all locally or regionally designed. There's tons of artists that have contributed. So they've got an ever-growing collection of original T-shirts, which are super cool. They've got watches. They've got beard care stuff, because if you're a dude and you got a beard, you need to take care of it.
Yeah.
Because, hey,
you got to watch that. You can't let that shit get too gnarly.
No. Duck Dynasty. Enough said.
Oh, never talk about Duck Dynasty on our podcast.
I don't know. That just came to mind because their beards look gross. Big. They're not like as cool as ZZ Tops.
No,
like they're trying for that, but they're dirty. And then check out Nothing Too Fancy Knoxville, which is on Instagram, and nothingtoofancy.com is where you can go buy all the things that you need in your life.
Yeah,
like
everything you need in life
slip mat
is going to be there,
and mug.
Yeah. And
the meaning of life is there.
So Did you say shirt?
Yes. No, I didn't.
No, see?
T-shirts. But anyway, this episode we're going to get into.
Yeah, we got to talk
very, very excited.
To the fantastic John Bradley of the band Dads.
Yes.
Which is a band that I'm super, super stoked on. I love everything they've put out.
Newest record, I'll Be the Tornado, is unbelievable.
Yeah, and man, I remember the first time I heard American Rat Ass. It just...
It's the best name.
It gives me the feels. Gives me the feels.
Man, that's always good.
Yeah, he also has a solo project called Cardinal.
Yep.
And it's really awesome as well. So let's get in here and talk to John about all of his awesomeness.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, 4. So how are things?
Very, very good. Just kind of hanging out right now. Just had a little food, and now I'm just hanging out and relaxing for a little bit. I haven't been able to relax the past couple of days, so it's nice to be able to just kind of sit around.
Relax time is always a good time, especially when you are an American rat ass like yourself and you play drums and sing at the same time, because that takes a lot of work. See what I did there? Yeah, that was an awful,
Yes, I
awful
do.
Yeah,
joke.
that was terrible.
was-
We're going to edit that out,
Yeah.
John. I'm so sorry
No,
about
I
that.
kind of like it. I dig it.
So you guys are on tour currently, right?
We are. So we just did. We did like a week around the 2 Riot Fest. We came home for about a week and a half. Then we did 2 college shows, and then which like had like a bunch of drive days to get to them. And then
Yeah.
we did on the way back from the college show. We got kind of a text or an email saying, "Well, Daytrotter can fit you in Rock Island, Illinois, but they only have an opening at this time." And it was like, all right, so we drive all the way back from New Jersey to go to Michigan, where we live, and then immediately the next day get back in the van and go
Nice.
down to Rock Island and stuff. And it was just kind of like, let's just get it done. And we are like, we have the time right now, and like
Right.
everyone's in one place, which is a very rare occasion. But then we start our first ever headlining tour on Friday, and that goes
Nice.
until Thanksgiving essentially.
Who are you out with on that tour?
Tiny Moving Parts, and then 2 weeks of it is this band Nye Harvest, and then the rest of it, which I think is like 3.5 weeks, is Choir Vandal.
Oh, okay. Nice. Night Harvest, they're from the UK, right?
Yes, they are. We actually met them when we were over there last, like November, December, and we were just like, these guys are awesome, great people, would love to bring them over here. And it was kind of like looking around at different bands that would have any interest and just who we'd want to take out. And it was like, well, Night Harvest like needs a reason to come over, and they're
Yeah,
great people,
nice.
so let's do it.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think we actually knew that already because we spoke to Dylan of Tiny Moving Parts last week, and we're planning on coming and seeing you guys.
I think, are you still on the bill? Are you still playing with them on November 23rd in Nashville? Do you know that?
Yep, that's us.
Sweet.
That's
Well,
the very end of the tour.
Yeah.
We're going to be there.
We'll be there. Because we
You
live
guys
in
know
Knoxville.
about, you guys, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How close is that to Memphis?
It's
6
like
hours?
6 hours.
Crazy. I didn't realize that Tennessee was that big.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
it's long, man.
It's like Texas. It's one of those states that just, if you're driving it from east to west, it's just long.
yeah.
Like,
a lot of length.
Yeah.
Not much girth.
exactly. Yeah. So, do you care to give us a little bit of a history lesson for those that need it on Dads, the beginnings?
Of course. So Dad started out as Scott and I, the other member of Dad's, had other bands that we were in, and we kind of met each other because I was running shows out of my parents' basement
Oh, sweet.
like once every month or something like that, and then he was in a band that I saw. I would like book friends, and then I would make friends by being like, well, who do you have? Let's bring them in the next month.
Yeah.
And it was like, they weren't like paid shows. They weren't like even like punk shows. It was literally just, I started doing shows out of my parents' basement because me and my friends had bands and we wanted to play for our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would throw them in my parents' basement, and then it started becoming, all right, well, you can't have the same 3 bands playing. Let's try and bring in some other friends and make friends. So I met Scott through that, and then he moved from wherever he was living with his mom to a house in New Brunswick. And I I lived ever since I was 7 in Piscataway, New Jersey, which is right next to New Brunswick.
Yeah.
So him and I were just hanging out, and like he came over. They did 2 shows, and I remember the second show we went to a diner and we just like talked, and we're like, wait a minute, we like all of the same stuff. And like at the time, I was playing guitar in the other band I was in, and we traded AIM screen names, and we were just like IMing each other and like texting each other about like our favorite guitar gear and like our favorite bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude's awesome. And we never ever were really the type of musicians that were like, let's get together and jam.
Yeah.
I'm now
But for
picturing
some
the
reason-
two of you guys just like Will Ferrell
yeah.
in what was that movie?
Step Brothers?
Step Brothers, where they
Step Brothers, yeah.
when they finally connected and clicked, they're like, dude, like, I can just see that happening.
And it's like we never really had that time. We just didn't know each other, and it was almost like I literally only ever found out about his old band because they were in a handful of my friends' top 8s,
Yeah.
and literally was like on MySpace, and I was just like,
Those
who is this
days.
band? Sent him a MySpace message, and they were like, sure, we don't like let's play. And then I ended up going on tour with that band and just like helping drive and
Yeah.
doing whatever I could because I became such good friends. And so we literally were like, I was still at school in South Jersey, and I was like, like I just got a drum kit. I don't like. I've been playing drums since I was in 5th grade, but I never played drums in a band.
Right.
And I was like, I just got a drum kit. Let's jam out. And it kind of started as like, I was in like a shoegazy indie band. He was in an emo band, for the lack of a better word. And I was just like, let's try and do something completely different. Let's try and do something more of like sludgy, like a doom metal power violence type thing.
Nice.
And it like worked out for a little bit. And then our friend joined as like, he was like, oh, I want to be a part of it. Because we all kind of hung out as like a trio.
Yeah.
And our friend was like, I don't really like play anything. I'll pick up bass and I'll start being a bassist. And we kind of just started writing what we knew, and it became more of like what you heard at the beginning of Dad's. And it was like, it was really cool, but it was definitely just like, we were still learning what we were doing. We were still learning who we were as human beings. So then parted ways with the bassist for a number of reasons. And we ended up kept going. I finished college and just wanted to tour as much as possible.
Yeah.
The other bands we were in kind of couldn't tour as much as we could, so Dad kept going. And then fast forward to, we did a tour with that band, You Blew It, and Dikembe, and we were like, well, we already have done 2 EPs, what do we do next? And we kind of realized on that tour that people were like singing along, people were taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's do an LP. Then we did American Radass, toured for 4 months, came home, wrote pretty good, toured throughout the summer, put out pretty good. Came home from that tour and immediately started writing. This would have been a year ago. Started writing I'll Be the Tornado.
Wow.
So it's like we demoed I'll Be the Tornado October of last year.
Yeah.
And then toured with Drug Church down to Fest and back, did Europe on our own, came home for a month.
Damn, some hard-working dudes.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So the momentum never has stopped. Like, it's just been like it's just been rolling ever since the start.
It's kind of a thing where it's like, we're blessed right now because this is our job. This is the only thing we do. And it's kind of like, we can't have another job because we tour so much, but we also can't not be touring because it's like the income that we have.
Right.
And we make so little anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's this weird idea of bands that when like the punk kid in the room says, oh, is this your only job? And then kind of has like a weird stinge to them.
Yeah.
We're making less than minimum wage. Like,
Yeah.
we're making far less than minimum wage. It's just we've gone through life and figured out how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
We've
we've
been there.
Been touring ever since.
It's an interesting way to live, and Derek and I did it for 4 or 5 years together, and you learn how to do things. You learn how to live. You basically
You learn how to ration yourself.
Yeah, you really do. Like at first, I'll admit, the first few months, I was like, man, I'm fucked. This was a terrible idea. And then the more we got into it, the more I realized, you know what? Okay, this is some shit that I don't need to spend money on. So I'm not going to spend money on that, and I'm going to continue to focus on what is important and what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And you kind of do fall into it, and then you get comfortable enough to where you can do it like you guys are doing, which is awesome.
Yeah. And we've been very lucky, and especially because of the fact that when we first were really kicking, we were a 2-piece. So, like, you're not a 5-piece band where, okay, well, we made X amount of dollars from this show. All right, well, so-and-so, we all have to eat.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like, well, there's only 2 of us. So it became a lot easier.
Yeah.
And now we have a bass player. Now we have, like, our tour manager that has been with us since basically the first day.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, we are able to really just figure out, like you're saying, like, all right, well, we don't need that, and we're very lucky with how many breaks we get.
Yeah.
And we're also at the point now, which is really cool, where it's like we just got Taco Bell's Feed the Beat, which is like, all right, well, that's $125 for everybody, so we're good to go for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So speaking of I'll Be the Tornado, which is the latest release and is fucking incredible.
Very, very good, man.
Thank you so much.
It hit me in a really, really good way. And I guess I'm curious to know, like, for me, the feel, it's different than American Radass in a really good way. But it still has the core, feelings and emotion from the first. Was it like an intentional choice to kind of take a new direction and make something new? Or is this just what kind of came out?
I think with American Radass, we were still really, really, like, I don't want to say young. I feel weird saying the word young. We were really just like
This
pushing what
record
we
is
wanted
so
to
much
do.
more mature.
Yeah.
That's what we've been hearing, and I'm really excited. There are a lot of like critiques and stuff that I will gladly take, but I feel uncomfortable saying.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it can always be like made a way to be like, oh, I can't believe he ever thought that of himself. But like, I think that when we did American Rad Ass, it was just such a like, dude, let's just write these songs. Like, oh, let's just like. I remember it was literally, let's hope it goes over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And with this record, like, we had to cut songs because it was too long.
Wow.
And it was just, we like, were such like raging we were such like raging like adults that were trying to find our way in the world, and we were just mad about everything.
Yeah.
And everything was just, how fast can we go? How fast can we go? Let's speed it up. And I remember like when we did Shit Twins, and I feel like the reason Shit Twins is such a difference on that record is because it's one of the few times we ever slow it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like like on the record, whereas with this record, and when we started to do pretty good, the EP, we were kind of like, oh, I wish that we could just do a whole LP right now to show already the transition that we've made as human beings and as musicians. But it was like, let's just do the EP and then we'll get to it. So by the time we got to I'll Be the Tornado, it was very much like we were ready to really slow it down and just really take apart every single section and every single structure and really focus on every note. Like, give every note some weight.
Yeah. Well, one thing I found on this album that I really thought was cool and different from the other ones, like all of your stuff has had a lot of emotion and rawness to it, but this album seemed to have more vulnerability to it. Like there's some parts in it that are they just get so quiet and so I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but very, very vulnerable sound. And I think the dynamics on the record are just really, really good, dude.
Thank you. That's definitely something we've been going for. And it's like, you hear, I think the biggest thing is that we did American Rad Ass, we did all that touring, and then people were kind of like, yeah, my friend listens to American Rad Ass, doesn't ever really have any interest in seeing you live because they just feel like it would be like whatever, like, oh, they could just listen to the record. And I think that a lot of our being as a band is our live show. And I feel like with I'll Be the Tornado, we were able to actually kind of put that into a record of, you come to a dad show, it's going to be a mix of emotions. It's going to be vulnerability. It's going to be like a lot of rage and stuff like that. But I really feel like you hear that on this record, and that's kind of what we wanted. Like, I don't feel like I wanted, and this is also with Neil, who produced the record, Neil Strauch. He was just like, I don't want to make you guys sound overproduced. I don't want to make you guys sound like this fake thing. I want it to be, oh, you came and just saw this powerful band.
Yeah,
and that's what you're
amazing.
getting on the record.
Well, your music always has a looseness and a rawness to it that I've always gravitated towards. It doesn't have that like sheen on top of it that you get with a lot of things that come out these days.
It doesn't have that extreme amount of polish that just makes it sterile.
It's like, this is still music.
This has emotion, and if you can't feel it, then you can't feel.
Yeah.
Period.
You're a robot.
And before we go too far into that, I wanted to ask you about Shit Twins. I'm glad you brought that up off of American Rad Ass. It being a different song, stylistically than the rest of the record. For me, it felt like a really heavy song, like as far as lyrics go and content. Was this a song that you wrote? I'm assuming you write majority of the lyrics or all?
Yes. Most of them. If I'm singing them, then I wrote them. And if Scott sings, he wrote them except like 2 or 3 lines.
Ah, okay. Shit Twins is one of my favorite tracks off of American Rad Ass, and like I said, it hit me in a heavy way. And lyrically, I was wondering, is this a song that you wrote because it is pretty heavy? Was this a close song to you, or were you just writing a story song, basically?
That is a lot of the stuff on American Rad Ass. I mean, everything that I normally write starts with poetry. Mm-hmm. For lyrics, anyway. Like, I feel like that's a cliche, but it's very much like I'm a writer at first.
Yeah.
Right.
Music and writing, to me, are 2 different things that when Dads comes into the picture, I put them together, or whether it be the solo stuff, I put them together. But, like, my idea is I'm not going, very, very rarely will I ever put something out that doesn't also stand alone as a poem, or doesn't also stand alone like as its own written word.
That's an amazing approach.
Yeah, that's a great way to go about it.
Yeah.
That's just how I've always felt, because it's like I've come into music as a writer, because it was a way for me to put stuff out as a writer,
as an outlet
that's different than publishing something.
Exactly.
So Shit Twins, as funny as it is, started out as a filler track. We were like, we'll never have a filler. We'll never put a filler on a record. There's no reason to. And then it was kind of like, well, we have all of the other songs written. Let's do an instrumental track, because we really wanted to show, like, we can sing a lot, but we can also pull it back.
Yeah.
And then, like, we had tried, or I had tried, putting the lyrics of Shit Twins into a song for years, and it never fit. Like, every time we would try writing a new song, I would try singing it. Never, ever fit, even if I took stuff out. And, like, the version that you hear in Shit Twins, I think me and Carly Hoskins put out a zine later that was the actual poem. It's like a 5-piece poem.
Oh, wow.
The version you hear on the song is cutting pieces out to fit it, and that's a 7.5-minute song.
Yeah.
So, like, we did Shit Twins, and we started writing the music, and we started kind of just, like, getting into the flow of it, and I kind of just started to hum things, and I was like, all right, well, maybe what we can do is have it where it's humming and just kind of a melody, and then eventually, like, maybe I just repeat a line or something like that to kind of add texture.
Yeah.
And then it was just randomly like, all right, well, I've also got this poem here. Let's see if it fits. And it just fit. Like, it's just one of those moments where it's like,
it all
everything
comes
worked out.
together. That time that it finally, oh my God, this is the box that this key opens, and we're saved.
And it was a thing where Scott would keep playing the same thing, and we would, like, kind of look at each other and go, well, how long are we going to make this thing? Because at that point, like, we had not written a song maybe over, like, 3.5 minutes. We had joked about it, but it was like we never really had the reason to, because the lyrics ended. And then there was a period where we had to, like, when we were writing that song, we straight up had to blow it up, like, the lyrics, and put them in our practice space so that he could read along as I was singing, so he would know when to switch to the next part. When we recorded that song, we recorded a couple extra bars.
Yeah.
So, like, before it gets big, there's a section there that we added because I was sitting back doing vocal takes after we recorded drums, bass, guitar, overdubs, all that, literally doing vocal takes. And I was like, oh, guys, we recorded way too much. And I had to, like, add in. Luckily, we had the whole pieces of the poem, because I was like, oh, well, now I can just add in pieces that got cut out.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it came together so weirdly, and then it worked out anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there is a full poem that is available somewhere to be read?
I don't know if it's, I mean, Carly and I we like do a thing where she'll put in photography of hers, and then I'll put in poems. And then she's very firm against putting them online, because it's kind of like, if you want them, you get them online. And then if there's a high demand for them, we'll repress them. Like, we'll do like a press of like 50 to 100 zines.
Nice.
And it's, if you like, I think I've seen scans of them. Like, people are scanning them. I'm sure that there are scans of the Shit Twins zines somewhere online. But
That's
it's
pretty
literally
awesome.
It's called Boom, Boom, and Boom is the original poem. And it's like Shit Twins poem or something like that.
Nice. That whole zine idea is actually pretty
really
awesome.
Cool.
It was just kind of like a thing of, like, she's read a lot of my poetry over the years of just touring with me.
Yeah.
And she was always I don't ever take much of what I do seriously enough to really think that it's worth putting out there. So, like, she would read it and go, you need to publish this, you need to put it out. And I'm like, I don't have, like, a vehicle to do that.
Right.
And it became, well, she shoots photography that we don't use, like, more than just a live photo that you see. So, like, why don't we put her, like, non-live photos and my poetry in the zine? And it's gone well so far.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
At what point did you decide to do the solo album? I know you just released one under Cardinal earlier this year, right?
Yeah. Like that was just me. It was just what I've always been doing, and it's kind of been a no-brainer for me. I think that the biggest thing is actually motivating myself to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly kind of sitting around playing guitar and writing songs whenever I'm free.
Yeah.
Like, we came back from recording and doing the Touche tour, and I was just like, I can't pick up a guitar. Like, I'll Be the Tornado isn't even completely out yet. If I picked up a guitar, I would have
You're
going to
write a whole new record.
written.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't even want to actually risk it.
Yeah.
Because I would literally, I had this path of, like, I would write a record or do something with a band, come home, pick up a guitar, write a song I like better immediately.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to do that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing solo stuff since I was like a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Is when I finally was like, I'm going to get really into songwriting. And then I think I ended up just going under like John Bradley, and then I had a couple other different band names. And then I started to be like, I saw what you could do as a real musician. I saw what you were allowed to do as like a respected and published musician, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well maybe I should do that for my live stuff or for my solo stuff. And I hit up 6131 and I was like, would you guys be interested in this? Like, it probably won't ever be toured on, but you could have it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll do a couple shows here and there. And they were like, yes, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had that same struggle. I'm a drummer, and I also try to do the singer-songwriter thing. And when I record stuff, I feel, for me, I've always felt weird releasing things under just my name, because it's always been a collaborative effort where at the end I bring all my friends in to play on the record. So I feel really, really weird just calling it myself. So I've had that struggle, and it's a weird one.
And I think mine was like, I had T-shirts that had my name on it.
Yeah,
And
me too.
It feels
all
weird,
of my friends
doesn't
were
it?
like, why would I wear a shirt that says John Bradley?
Yep.
I was like, yeah, you're right, but like I have nothing else.
Yeah. I had that same conflict, and it was a really weird phase, and then I decided to not do that anymore.
Yeah.
But as a drummer, I've also sang in a band while playing drums, and it's I know that what you're doing is fucking amazing, and it's an accomplishment. Like, it is not an easy thing to do.
You.
And, a lot of people
No.
don't think about it, that it really is a big undertaking to do that. And I was wondering, for you, is it hard to write parts that you really, really enjoy and you're really stoked about, but are also easily playable while you're singing?
When we first started this, I was like, I don't want to sing at all. I just don't want to do it. And then like Scott and the other guy were like, well, you are the best singer in the band. And I was like, I don't care. I don't want to be singing at all. And then it would just kind of be like, well, I was the one that was writing the most lyrics.
Yeah.
And I would like really want to have a say. And
You're
it
it
got
by
down to
default.
like, well, yeah, like that's how it was. And I was like, damn it. And with American Radish, we definitely did the like, well, I can't play and sing at the same time, so I'm not going to. And then we kind of realized like, if I practice enough, I can do it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And it's something that like we just had a conversation about this recently. Like we were practicing and like no one was like, I can't do it. They were just like, yeah, I'll have to work on it. And it was just like, there's so many people in this world that are just like, I can't do it. And it's like, if you just practice, you could do it.
Yeah,
I mean, not
yeah.
with everything, but with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, it was just, I get a lot of people that ask that, and at shows, like, they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't even really think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go into the practice area, and it sucks for about 5 hours, and then I get it.
And then I channel my inner Phil Collins,
Yes.
and then I'm just able to do
Yeah.
it.
But it's literally just like, there hasn't been, except for like one or two things, that I haven't been able to just keep practicing.
Yeah.
And eventually the drums become the muscle memory that I don't even think about. And the hardest part is remembering the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I fuck up a lot of nights. But it's kind of just like fun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was wondering that because I was watching some videos on YouTube, and you guys had done, and I can't remember the name of the sessions that you guys did, but I was watching through those, and I was watching some of your drum fills while you were singing, and everything just looked effortless. And I was thinking, holy fuck, this is incredible. Like, some of the drum fills that you were playing while singing just were super impressive, and I feel like that should be pointed out because I don't think a lot of people
And
get it.
That's honestly just practicing and touring.
That's
We had a
awesome.
friend after the first tour was just like, well, I mean, how did the tour go? And we're like, oh, it was great. And he's like, well, I mean, at least now your songs are perfect because you just had to play them 100 billion times. And it's like, we have a friend coming in because on the new record there's a lot of acoustic.
Yeah.
So we had our friend come in and he's going to play drums on some of the songs so I can play acoustic for some of the shows.
Cool.
And it was like he had to sit next to me and kind of watch as I was doing it and see how I did it. And I was just like, oh God. Like, even just stuff on the Pretty Good EP, even stuff on the new record, like, it's been changed already because we'll practice it. And I'm like, well, it works out better if I just keep doing this instead.
Yeah. Man, that's insane. So you mentioned earlier that you guys played Riot Fest. How was that?
Yeah. Insane. We were terrified, but it was like insane.
Yeah, I can't
We
even
got
imagine. That
word-
seems so intimidating.
Yeah.
It was like we just showed up and the stage was just huge, and it was just that festival stage idea of it's outdoors.
Yeah.
And you never know if there's going to be 5 people, if there's going to be 1,000.
Right.
And we had gotten told like a couple weeks before, whenever they released the schedule, that we were playing at the exact same time as Mineral. And I was just like,
wow.
fuck, like, we're actually fucked right now.
Like-
But it was
Yeah.
actually fine.
Yeah.
I was terrified, but we were fine.
That's awesome.
Except for the fact that you didn't
Yeah.
get to go see Mineral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. I looking at the size of Riot Fest and all of the bands, like, I think that I would have I was going to say mini panic attack, but no, a major panic attack.
full-blown
A
panic
full-blown panic attack when I realized that I was going to be a part of this thing that is so huge. And I mean, that's just playing that in itself is fucking fantastic. What were some of your favorite shows that you got to see while you were there and not playing?
The first weekend, because we did Chicago and we were actually there for the whole weekend. And the very first thing we saw was Somos, which was tight.
Sweet.
And then I watched Slayer later on in the
Yes.
night, and that's like a band I've grown up loving.
Yes.
And that was like a band that, like, when I was in middle school, I was a metalhead and I was playing Slayer guitar
Yeah.
riffs.
I was never able to
Second
play the guitar riffs.
That was another thing. I didn't have any friends, so I was just learning it. Yeah. Like, well, what else am I gonna? There were times, like, when I was a kid, and I would put down the guitar, and I would go, "You're joking! Like, it's not like you're going out. Pick the guitar back up.
Yeah,
Like, just keep
exactly.
going." The second day, I remember I watched Dashboard because I was like, I remember being a kid and watching Dashboard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched Dashboard, and then I think we went and got food. And then I don't remember what I did the rest of the day. But then the third day, Sunday, it was basically like press day, and everybody at our stage was just so fucking awesome. Like,
Nice.
our stage was like Tiny Moving Parts and like Pup, Chums, Modern Baseball. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing was just
That was the
at our
stage
stage.
to
It was
be
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's-
then Denver, we ended up coming in early in the morning. We played Nebraska the night before and drove all night, and then got in right before we played. Glassjaw played a stage across like the area from us, and that was awesome.
That is
Just like
awesome.
being able to like set up and watch Glassjaw was cool.
Yes. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
They're,
And you
Yeah.
also mentioned earlier about Day Trotter, and that is like something that I've always thought that was just the coolest little idea
Yeah.
to have, and I've always wanted to just
Right?
play Day Trotter.
Yeah, I know.
So I just want to know how that was. How did that go?
It was insane. It was like, because I was like, you always have to kind of like play it cool. Like, you never want to be like the
Yeah.
weird nerdy guy that's
Exactly.
like freaking out about it.
This
is so
because you don't want
awesome!
them to go like, yeah. So like, we just played it cool for a while, and it turned out like the guy that we recorded with, we had met at a show a couple years back, so that was nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
We had like talked to friends about it before we even got asked to do it, and then like at the end of it, he was just like, "Oh yeah, this isn't even the main studio, but you can go over to the main studio where they recorded everything, and like you can go meet the guy who started it." And I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, I was on Day Trotter's first ever street team. I had the first ever T-shirt. Like, that was something that meant something to me. And we went over and like I talked to the guy who started it, and it was just so awesome.
Yeah, that's insane, man. I've always thought that was just like the coolest idea. I mean, it's
for
just-
me,
Yeah.
it's super exciting that it's, a form of subscription service that like you don't even know, like there's an iPhone app where you can subscribe to it and get like all the downloads and whatnot
Yeah.
Of each week.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, like, I don't even like looking ahead to see who's
Yeah.
going to be playing Day Trotter. It's awesome to just like hear a band and, oh shit, they did a Day Trotter session. And it's always super impressive because it's generally a different feel
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
regular studio sessions that, I don't know. It has, Day Trotter seems to have its own personality, and it brings that over to the band's
because
performance.
they don't like have a genre. Like
Right.
you're not going to find just one genre of music on Day Trotter. It's just
Everything.
ever changing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and it all has that like warmth to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That I love.
I've heard that recording is very interesting. Do you get? I've always wondered how that really worked too. Do you get one take, or did they let you just do a song however many times you want? I heard someone had told me once, you go in there and you get one shot for the songs that you're doing. How did yours go?
Ours was fine because it was like we showed up early. The time they were like, we have noon on Monday, so we're like, all right, well, we'll drive in on Sunday, get a hotel, and just wake up the next day and be there. So we actually got there before the engineer. So like we were set up and ready to go before everything was even like ready to record. So we were able to kind of warm up.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
for us, they have you run through like a couple different songs. Like we did 3 or 4 songs, and they have you run through them, and not the whole time, but like they'll have you run through like your loudest and most like spastic one with different vocals, and then they'll have you run like your quietest one. And then once they feel like they have the levels completely corrected, they will have you just run through it. And it's definitely like, as long as you're not going over your time, if you felt like the one take you just did wasn't good, you could easily do another
Yeah.
one.
That's awesome.
And we were actually like,
So they basically
we were
give you a
great with
block.
time.
It's like any other recording studio. They basically give you, hey, here's X amount of hours. Let's do these.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah, and I don't know how it is for everyone, because ours is like, there wasn't a set time of like, oh, you're going to go in there for 2 hours, but ours was at noon, and then there was a band at 2. So it was just like, all right, well, you have 2 hours to do whatever you want.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how's the reception been for the new album so far?
So far, amazing. I try my best not to read reviews that much anymore, which
Yeah.
sounds like a weird thing.
No, it's
I've never
totally
really understood
understandable.
that I like. It's weird because I've never like, when you start to kind of like have people treat you like a superstar that you've like grown up loving,
yeah.
you never get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the idea of like somebody like, we have like a pseudo manager now, and he was like, don't read the reviews. Like, even if they're good, don't read them. And I was like, why? I want to. And it's just like, you shouldn't. You just don't do it. You're going to think about it too much. And then I would read a review that's like 90% great and then 10% bad, and I would get stuck on that 10%. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm not going to read the reviews. But he's been telling me like that they're amazing, that everyone seems to really enjoy it, and everyone seems to get it. It's been great. It's
Yeah,
been like
man.
better than we could have ever expected.
It's a fantastic record, and mine ended up being a pretty blue color.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on mine because I think there was a halt on the flexies that were coming with it, so mine's coming in
Yeah.
a few days. But
Since I got the blue variant, I was going to ask you about what different colors did you guys decide to press for this run?
We pride ourselves on the variants. We pride ourselves on not just kind of half-assing it, because like we know that the vinyl, or that vinyl is like, it's not a dead industry, but we know that it's coming back, and it's kind of like, if you're going to go and buy a physical copy, we want to make it nice. We want to make it
Exactly,
cool
yeah.
and fun for you.
That's awesome.
We ended up doing, somebody like Scott came to us with an idea like years ago and was like, I want to do black with like neon or white specks.
oh, that was
So
the
it kind
Galaxy
of
one,
looks
right?
like stars. That was the Galaxy.
Yeah,
so it looks
that one
like
looks
stars,
amazing.
and then when it's spinning, it's cool.
Nice.
And then we always like, the very first press that we ever did on vinyl was American Radass, and the very first American Radass ever was blue with white.
Yeah.
And I think you did you get the clear or did you get the blue with spec?
Yeah, I got the clear blue.
Okay,
Translucent.
so you got the translucent blue.
Yeah.
That was just like, because what we'll do is we'll send 6131 like our list of things, and then they'll like desires, and they'll kind of factor in, well, all right, well, let's make X amount of this copy, X amount of this copy, and then they'll kind of go to the record place where they're pressing them and be like, these are our ideas, and they'll come back with, well, this is what we can do. These are the colors we could do.
Yeah.
So it ended up being like the Galaxy. There was green with white, which was supposed to be like, we all kind of did a nature theme.
Yeah.
So it was like you had the Galaxy, you had green with white, which is grass. You had blue with white, which was an ode to American Radass and an ode to the clouds.
Nice.
You had clear blue, which was water. There's red with black, which is basically just like blood. And then there's also a couple other ones that are like, we like gave them a ton of colors, and it was like, use whatever you want.
I think the
And
one
then
that I've
whatever
got coming
doesn't get used.
is clear with I think it's a yellow or white splatter. I can't remember, but
Clear with white,
Yeah.
Clear, that might have been the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the white with blue, or the blue with white is puddles or water or something like that. I forget how it goes. But it
Yeah.
was like, we had this huge explanation drawn up and then gave it to him, and he was like, cool, I'll get it done. And
That's
whatever they
super
didn't use for
amazing.
this press, they're saving.
I just like the fact that you took thought into the variants
because
and stuff of
I
it.
do appreciate. I mean, as a vinyl collector, I will take a 180 gram black vinyl every day of the week.
Yeah.
they're awesome.
Right.
But at the same time, as you said earlier, I also look at an album as a piece of art and much prefer it to look awesome as well as sound awesome. Right. And it's really cool to know what different artists' points of view on that. Because some people are like, I don't care, just make them black. And then other people have visions of what they want to do, like with what you guys did with Nature. That's fucking awesome. That was even something that you guys thought out and executed and did really well. It's super cool.
Thank you. We have like lists of ideas like that, like different aesthetics like that, of like lists of just like, if we're in the van and we're just talking and somebody's like, oh, we have this idea for a record press color, we write it down. And like, even like American Radass is in its 6th or 7th press right now. I forget the number. And it's kind of like, at this point, we're putting so much promo into I'll Be the Tornado that it's like, if you still care about American Radass right now, that's tight. But we still sat down, like they came to us and they were like, we're going to repress it. And we're like, tight. And we sat down and had a conversation about what type of colors and stuff like that. And I think we just did, I forget what colors. I know that one of them is like a peppermint. So it's like white with red streaks. So it's like when it's spinning on the record player, it's like a peppermint spinning.
That's cool. I think my copy of American Radass is like a red marbled color. I think it might have been 3rd or 4th pressing of it, possibly, but I can't remember.
There you go.
Yeah,
and each one we like put time into because we care about stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome of you because a lot of people probably just
thank you.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of artists might just tell the label,
which is fine because some people don't care about that.
Exactly. But as record collectors, we appreciate those little details. But I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of people that are like, I don't care, whatever, just standard black vinyl.
Yeah.
Are you a vinyl
but it's
collector?
Also like I used to be when I like lived at my parents' house. With how much I'm on the road nowadays, it's very rare that I will
it's hard
collect
to,
because I'm kind of just like, where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
When I had to move from my parents' house, finally, I was like, I have to leave or get rid of so much stuff that I love records. Mm-hmm. I love supporting the business, but until I'm completely ready to have like a bookshelf of vinyl, I can't really do it right now.
That totally makes sense. And see, you still care about how your vinyl looks.
Exactly.
And that's
oh, of course.
Amazing.
Especially the ideas of like, all right, well, it's going to be spinning. Let's try and make something cool like that.
Yeah.
It's also like you guys said, like it's an extension of the art. As a musician in this world, you only have so much you can actually say.
Right.
And you only have so much that you can actually push that image and that idea. Vinyl is an extra help, even if it's just a color or an art.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a really hard choice to figure out what you want to do when it comes to a pressing. It's like you find out like the colors that are available, and then it's like, oh man, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this, and then it almost like from the last record that I put out, it was overwhelming. We debated it for a good 2 weeks just on the color of the pressing.
Yeah,
like. We all had different ideas, and then we finally found one that clicked that no one had mentioned, and all of us were like, yes! And it was just like an awesome feeling.
I mean, that's the benefit of having only 2 members. And even like everybody else will have a say, but it's kind of just like we're very, very lucky that most of the time our ideas all come together early.
Yeah, it's less people to butt heads there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have you got any new bands you've been listening to or been listening to a whole lot lately?
I'm fine. Like, I really like the new piano stuff that's coming out. I've been really, really into the new pianos Become the Tea.
Yeah.
Really, really into pop.
Man, me too.
God, pop is so good. And, like, I don't know, I'm checking my RDO right now.
Yeah.
What did I listen to recently?
Yeah, I'm just, because I know that, like, last night, me and my girlfriend were car pumping, and I was just listening to Mariah Carey, so I know that's not real.
Nice.
I don't know. There's, like, so much good stuff coming out right now. I feel like I have to make a huge list of just...
No, it really is. Like,
there
now's
is.
a good time for music.
This has been a really good year for music.
This year's been
an exceptional year.
That new Flying Lotus is still blowing my mind on a daily basis.
Is it good?
Dude, it's unbelievable. Awesome. I mean, like, he perfectly takes, like, psychedelic jazz and hip-hop and just melds them together in this perfect way. Yeah.
It is really good.
I can't stop listening to it and or talking about it.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'll check it
I
out
can
then.
tell.
I've seen it all over, but I need to check it out.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. We don't want to take up any more of your time. We really appreciate you coming and talking to us. Do you care if we play one of your songs off the new album at the end to close us out?
Do whatever you want. I've had a lot of fun.
Nice.
All right. You got a preference on a song there?
You know what? You guys pick. I like them all.
Wow. Okay.
No, there's not one that I hate yet.
That's always a good thing, because after playing songs over and over and over and over on tour, you can get really, really burnt out on some songs and start to develop hate for something that you created.
Yeah.
And that's always so weird.
When we first got our new bass player and he started playing with us, he had a list of songs, because we gave him our set list that we were working on, and then we started formatting the next set list for the next tour. He was like, "Oh, can we play this one? Can we play this one?" And Scott and I were both just like, "No, those aren't coming out." So
Yeah.
we beat those things to death. We're done with those for a while.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he was super bummed, but he gets it.
Yeah. Well, I'm super stoked on Fake Knees right now. So how's that sound to you?
Thank you very much. I'm into it. I love it.
Cool.
Thanks so much for doing this, man, and we will see you in Nashville in November.
Can't wait. See you then.
All right,
Awesome.
man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.
Tiniest gap in between your two front teeth and your fake knees, whistling through the pain to accommodate a kid who doesn't have the time of day. One who has to keep moving away. What can I say? I'm purposely putting life in the way. Thank you for your gently warm shirts we slept with underneath our nose. I'm on a red eye crying about a bunch of fucking clothes. How much time did I waste on people who